So good afternoon. I would like to apologize again for first of all coming late, and then I had some issues with my internet connection, which I've worked on. Um, so today we're going to talk about the South Korean industrialization. Some few days ago, we talked about the development in itself, and we agreed that development is that systematic increase or positive increase, positive change in whatever it is that we are doing or we want to do. Um, and we also said that development is never ending because, for example, we had cars before that did not have air conditioners, but today we have cars that have air conditioners. Now also we have cars that are that can drive themselves. Those are also developments. So we can easily say that development is a never-ending task. So one country that has amazed everybody in the world in the last 60 years is South Korea. Before 1960 or 61, South Korea had been in a very bad state. As a matter of fact, South Korea was one of the poorest of all states before 1960. In 1961, there was a coup that brought in a military leader who made a decision. Keyword: he made a decision to move South Korea from its level of poverty to a level of prosperity. It's a decision, and we also can decide to do that, and we will succeed. It's unfortunate I'm not seeing any of the updates. I'm not seeing people that are coming. I may not be able to see comments. Let me just look also at my. I'm sorry about this. I need to monitor who is talking in order for me to respond when it's necessary. Okay. We are doing or we want to do. I'm not seeing people that are coming. I may not. Okay, so I'll monitor this from my mobile phone. So, okay, I can see a few people now. I'm not able to see it on my computer. So, it's a decision that South Korea took, and at the end of the day, they are able to achieve their dreams. South Korea initially was more of an agrarian economy. They decided from 1961 that they are going to build exports for their they are going to build their economy through exports. So they decided on this path of industrialization. So what did they do? First thing, what they did was to start with a garments factory. They decided that they were going to sell clothes to more advanced countries like America. It's a bold decision because ordinarily somebody would say, America has all the industries, and how could I, a poor nation, send things to America? However, they took a decision that we are going to improve our exports, or we're going to improve our economy through exports. And they started sewing clothes. They started making clothes. They built the industry of making clothes, and they forwarded clothes to America. From America not trusting the clothes, at the end of the day, they became a major supplier to America. Um, it was very successful. It gave a lot of them some jobs. After seeing the successes in the clothing industry, they decided, why don't we go into the chemicals industry? Because they don't have oil like us in Nigeria. They don't have any means of income except if they use their own ingenuity. Also, it may be interesting to know that South Korea was devastated by the Japanese War. Uh, they lost almost everything that they had during the Japanese War. Immediately after uh, the Second World War. I'm not very sure about that, but there was a war that devastated the whole country. All their assets and whatever, they lost them until when they took this decision. So they went into chemical production. At the point they told themselves, see, whatever it is that we have a capacity to do, we will not import. We will rather export to other countries. And that singular decision was able to propel them from low levels of poverty, high levels of poverty, to very low levels of poverty. As at today, South Korea is about the 15th richest country in the world. It's a small country over there, but it's now one of the 15 richest countries in the world. Um, maybe we look at a case of Samsung, which is one of South Korea's major industries or companies. It interests you to know that Samsung used to be a very small company that used to dry fish and sell to people. They used to do noodles like Indomie to sell to people. Then immediately when the industrialization came, Samsung went into the semiconductor industry, and at the end of the day, it was very successful. They went into mechanization. Samsung builds cars. They built so many things. And how did they get to this level? They got to this level because the government itself was supportive of those industries. What support? They gave them concessions, tax concessions. They ensured that they got funds for whatever it is that they wanted to do, and they were able to do a lot of things. Samsung came into the electronics business so many years after America. But in fact, when they started, within a period of 6 months, Samsung was able to make their own first color TV, which which they were able to export to other countries. Now, it's, as I said before, it's a decision not to do, not to import into the country things that we can produce by ourselves. So for us here, let's look at our own local industries. do we really have any? Do we really process anything that we have beyond how we take them raw from our farmlands? Because we are farmers. An example of one of the things that we lose normally is my area, Ponpan area, we have yams. We sell all the yams on harvest. At the end of the day, people take them to Lagos where they have industries, and they convert them into a yam powder and send them over to us here in even in the Plateau where the yams came from. It's so surprising. Why couldn't we have processed this this yam to that level, or even a little bit further? The other day I heard Nigeria was exporting yam to the US. For me, it's very very funny. Yam is about 60% water, and why would we carry 60% water from Africa up to America? We should be able to process it a little further, get it into some sort of powder, and then move it there to America for whatever it is that they want to do with it. But we don't do that. As an engineer, I know that whatever it is that you look at and you want to you want to recreate, it's just a matter of design. And whatever it is that you want, you'll be able to make it. Today, we have a lot of mechanical engineering companies on the Plateau who are struggling, but with a little push, they will be able to make a lot of machines, including cars. But have we ever taken a decision to ensure that these industries that would give jobs to our young people with all the skills that they have we ever considered helping them? South Korea, let me go back to South Korea. In fact, South Korea supported businesses that are even family businesses. Samsung, for example, was a family business. In fact, until the proprietor died in 1987 or so, it had been all along a private, a family business. But the government did not worry about that. They still supported them. Why? Because supporting such a business will allow South Korea to improve on its income. It will improve on its income via the exports that could come from the exports of goods from Samsung, and they will earn a lot of foreign exchange. So, what are we doing as a people in order to see that we engage our young people? What are we doing? One of the features of South Korea's development is that they developed technical skills, high technical skills in their youths, and that assisted them to develop everything that they wanted. They do it. Everything that they wanted, they created it. If they wanted cars, they brought in all the people that they had trained in order to create cars, and they created for exports. Today, we have so many devices like in Nigeria that are made by Samsung. LG is another company. All of them coming. They've taken over the world because their main driving philosophy is to sell things to the world in order to be rich. So, for me, I think we should have a turning point where government should begin to support local industries, to ensure that they get developed, to ensure that we build a culture of excellence in whatever it is that we're doing, so that whatever it is that we produce will be seen as very competitive in the world, so that people, instead of buying things from Thailand or from Korea, they would prefer to buy it from us here at home. I will be bold to tell you that we have people that, when we go into the semiconductor business, that we will be able to make radios, make televisions, and make all those electronic devices by ourselves. I know for Samsung started by importing some of those components and assembling them. But today, they have developed technology by themselves, and they are able to make components and send them out to other countries. So let's ask ourselves: shouldn't we take that decision to bring up our youths, bring up industries, change the direction of our industries into high productive levels? We need to ask ourselves, should we continue to live in poverty while we are still dependent on other states? Lagos is a very good example of a state that has progressed. There are lots of industries there, and we need to learn from them. We need to learn and at least process some of those things that we have to a certain level. The other day I went for a visit somewhere, and I was shown carrot oil. I had never known that there was something like carrot oil. And I was told that it's a very highly priced oil. Why don't we process our carrots to that level? Why don't we look at how to process our Irish potatoes to a better level? I learned Pringles are made out of Irish potatoes. Why don't we take advantage of that? We have a lot of people that are into tailoring in our state. Why don't we take advantage and create an industry that will produce clothes of high quality to the whole of Nigeria? By estimate, we are over 180 million people. This is a very, very big market for any state in Nigeria that decides that it will go into production. For me, people keep talking about the structure of the country, why we should be go into regions, and why we should be we should divide and so on. For me, there are a lot of advantages for any state that wants to go into production. Simple things. Why, for God's sake, why should we import clothes from abroad? Let's think about it. Why should we do it? Why should we not take advantage of our number in order to produce goods and services that will, make our lives to be better. One of the things that we as a people on the plateau have not taken advantage of is the weather, the cold weather on the plateau. If we put our energy in this, we will be able to increase level of tourism, especially medical tourism. We will be able to imagine that we had a hospital that is world class. Would our president be flown to America or to Britain for checkup? I think no, he wouldn't be. But the true position is that we don't have the good hospitals. Can't we as a state take it as a point of business and draw people that want the best of medical care to come to the plateau? For me, I think we should. For me, I think it's not difficult. For me, I think it's not expensive. Because we can, even if we don't have the money, we can borrow the money. As long as we have a good intention, we have projects that we can use to use the money for, people will give us. In fact, investors will pay part of the money while we pay a little part. Advantages are that our people will get jobs. For us, we like enjoyment. We don't like to use our hands. We don't like to subdue the earth, as the Bible says. We need to subdue the earth and let whatever it is that is on this earth obey us. Process them. Let's process them to levels that will create jobs to our teeming youth. I think generally this is all that I have for you today. If there are any questions, I would answer them. If there are none, I will stop this broadcast. I want to acknowledge Kate Dabang. There's Victor Dabang too. Robert is one of those that we're looking at. He's doing his doctoral degree in physics in South Africa. I can see Charles Morris. Thank you for coming. Esther, thank you. Saleh Al Hassan, thank you. Freeman, thank you. Emmanuel Umugadu, thank you. Mr. Sampit KSM, thank you. Sosh Umaru, thank you. Joel Cabra, thank you. Emmanuel Umugadu said, let's look inward. Yes, that's the idea. We have to look inwards and ensure that everything that we can do, we don't import. And we can do it. The encouragement is that we can do it. We have to think alike. We have to, agree. We have to together say, yes, we'll contribute our energy, our brains, our time, and whatever in order to, get forward. One of the things that made South Korea to be profitable as it is now is that their quest for excellence. In fact, from childhood, their quest for excellence is unbearable. So it's one of those things that we need to do, and they are highly educated from I think about 20% literacy in the early early 60s. They moved to over 90% literacy levels. So education is very key. We don't really need so much of degrees. We need to build technical skills, especially even if it's on people that just graduated from secondary schools. One of the things also that they did that one of the things that they did that was really amazing was that they did not forget the older population. They also ensured that those people that were older, that were also trainable, were trained so that they would work in those factories that they created, and that made them to become very profitable. I would say thank you everyone for being here. The video will be online. I will still be watching out. If there are any questions, I will answer them. And thank you, everyone. Tina, can see you, James B Talk. Thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. Bye bye.